Trent and Tame River valleys stretch for 185 miles across the country from Warwickshire to the Lincolnshire coast. The Bigger and Better initiative sees Tarmac, Cemex, Hanson and aggregate industries working together to bring the Trent and Tame valleys back to their former glory, creating a wetland artery for wildlife flowing from source to sea in an attractive, multifunctional and inspiring landscape loved by all. The fact that this whole area is peppered with current and planned mineral extraction sites presents a unique opportunity for quarry operators to transform the landscape, linking isolated, fragmented pieces of wetland into an ecological network, creating large new wetlands and reversing the decline in this priority habitat and its associated species.
Well, I think for starters it really clearly highlights that minerals development and mineral site restoration is the single biggest opportunity for habitat creation at a landscape scale in the Trent and Tame River valleys. The Bigger and Better project moves away from a traditional piecemeal site-by-site approach to more of a coordinated strategic landscape scale approach. So, for example, where there's a cluster of mineral sites, it's encouraging the mineral operators to work more closely together so that they collectively deliver more for wildlife and more for the local communities than they could individually. So in other words, the whole becomes bigger than its component parts.
There is already much to be proud of here. Cemex's Attenborough quarry near Beeston has evolved into a stunning 145-hectare nature reserve. It's home to a wide range of bird species, including bittern, grasshopper warbler, lapwing and great crested grebe. Hanson's restoration of its Middleton Hall quarry near Tamworth has seen previously degraded farmland transformed into a diversity of habitats, including some 23 hectares of reedbed and a feature-rich river habitat. Restoration at Aggregate Industries' Newbold quarry near Burton-on-Trent has already returned 160 hectares of land to farming, woodland and wetland. And Tarmac's Langford Lowfield site in Nottinghamshire is on course to become the largest reedbed in the East Midlands.
Sites like Langford Lowfields, they provide really great examples of mineral sites being restored for wildlife, but those are just individual sites. I think by taking the Bigger and Better approach, we can really spread that wildlife spectacle and that better quality of life for local communities across the whole of the Trent Valley and turn what overall is quite degraded a landscape into a beautiful, beautiful landscape which is loved and enjoyed by everybody who experiences it.
In order to offset the impacts of quarrying the Coulden Dales SSSI, Lafarge Coulden has worked with Staffordshire County Council, Staffordshire Wildlife Trust and consultants Bioscan to create species-rich calcareous grassland in worked-out and non-operational areas of its Coulden limestone quarry. With an area of the SSSI due to be lost through the expansion of the quarry, Lafarge Coulden and its partners set about finding the optimum technique for translocating priority habitat lowland calcareous grassland in a carefully monitored pilot project. The most successful techniques will then be used to translocate the area of SSSI. Habitat creation on a wider scale is being pursued to reconnect, support and expand ecological networks and to enhance local habitat. The aim is to create grassland links between two SSSIs, Rue Hill and Coulden Dales, on either side of the Coulden limestone quarry. This will ensure that there are no barriers to seed dispersal and establishment. The project forms part of the Churnet Valley Living Landscape project, aimed at reconnecting and improving fragmented natural habitats. This project will link to a similar initiative at Coulden Low Quarry next door. Lafarge encourages the community to come and see what's being done at Coulden, with a viewing area and interpretation boards explaining the project and its impact on biodiversity. Coulden has also been used as a demonstration site for a variety of audiences from the quarrying, wildlife and conservation sectors. Aggregate Industries' Croft Quarry lies within the lower reaches of the River Soar Valley in Leicestershire and Croft Hill, which was created using the overburden of a quarry extension in 1995. It's a prominent feature rising from the flat landscape all around it. It was important that the landscaping of the new hill fitted into the surrounding countryside, and a phased restoration approach was taken, planting a diverse variety of trees, grassland and a wildflower seed mix on the top of the hill to support a range of habitats. The restored land is grazed by sheep in the summer months and has attracted an array of different species, including many butterflies which are monitored annually with the help of a group of local volunteers. As part of the restoration, Aggregate Industries reconnected an old footpath between the two local villages of Croft and Huncote and created a local nature reserve, which includes a 4-mile nature trail, a circular route which is well used by the local community for walking and running. Aggregate Industries also promote the nature trail and the new hill as an educational resource to be used by local schools and the community.
We have been working with local volunteer groups to carry out the habitat management works on site. We also use the site as educational purposes for pond dipping, for example, and also tree and grassland ID. Looking at the bigger picture of this habitat, it links into the surrounding countryside. It's a mixture of woodland, hedgerows, open fields, and this, I think, fits in very well.
Woodhall Spa Nature Reserve, also known as Tattershall Thorpe Quarry, represents one of very few opportunities for significant landscape-scale habitat creation and restoration in Lincolnshire. It sits amid a network of nature reserves and close to a Forestry Commission plantation and a SSSI, in an area which, when viewed as a single living landscape, extends for nearly 15 square kilometres. Operator Cemex has worked in partnership with Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust to restore the quarry with an eye on the bigger picture. Restoration has created a range of habitats, including acid grassland, heathland, wet grassland and open water, designed to link surrounding habitat fragments and contribute to priority habitats within the Kirkby Living Landscape vision. Recreating these habitats will enable the spread and colonisation of a rich variety of species across the landscape from nearby reserves that have acted as reservoirs for nature. New nectar-rich grassland has attracted a wide range of invertebrates, and the bird population is growing too. Woodlark, skylark and meadow pipit have been recorded, along with breeding lapwing and cuckoo. The wide open hunting grounds have also attracted hobby, kestrel, buzzard and barn owl. The mammal population is expanding too. Water vole, otter and a range of bats are present, and brown hare numbers are increasing steadily. Part of the site's heritage as an RAF airfield is still visible. The old runways constructed in 1942 for World War II bombing raids are still in place, but nature is steadily taking over. Ponds have been created which have attracted ducks and geese and 11 species of dragonfly. An area of wet grassland has been created and reed beds have been planted in old silt ponds, which were visited by a summering bittern this year. The site is grazed by sheep and red Lincolnshire cattle to keep the habitats in good condition. For Imerys Minerals, taking a landscape-scale view of restoration means looking at around 130 square kilometres of mid-Cornwall, a daunting challenge that the company has undertaken over a number of years with remarkable results. As part of tomorrow's Heathland Heritage Project, which aims to put the wild heart back into Cornwall, Imerys undertook the reprofiling of existing china clay tips, pits and mica dams to recreate 785 hectares of previously lost lowland heathland.
China clay has been mined in this area for over 250 years, so we have a huge legacy of sites that need restoration. The main objectives have been to restore to the habitats that were here prior to the operation, so we have a mixture of woodland, heathlands and acid grasslands.
The restoration project, which has been ongoing since the late 1990s, also aims to create links with existing heathland.
When we started looking into the project, there were a number of things we needed to consider. Was whether we had areas where we could translocate existing seed banks, for example, or whether we needed to collect seeds from local sources. It was also considered how we did reprofiling of the tips to get some more natural looking landforms, and then from those landforms how we would actually dress the seeds down and do the actual restoration physically on the ground.
The impact of this restoration project reaches well beyond the china clay area through creation of stepping stones of habitat linking with the Lizard to the west, Gossmoor to the north and Kit Hill and Bodmin Moor to the east. These will help flora and fauna to populate the new areas of heathland and will maintain important links across the county in the future. The new habitats are a haven for reptiles such as adder, grass snake, common lizard and slowworm, and birds including skylark, grasshopper, warbler and linnet, and of course mammals including dormice and roe deer, and a host of invertebrate species. Permissive pathways have been added, allowing the public to enjoy the new landscape. With two sites at opposite ends of the Greensand Ridge Nature Improvement Area, Tarmac is taking the opportunity to contribute to a landscape-scale project to recreate lost heathland and acid grassland habitats. Sandy Heath Quarry, which sits on the eastern end of the Greensand Ridge, is a key operational site for Tarmac, supplying asphalt sand to the local area since the 1950s. Progressive restoration has been underway since the 1980s, with involvement of the RSPB since 2000.
I think the key learnings from what we've done here is the flexible approach. It's actually, we've got a restoration plan, but obviously as we come to restore the areas, we look at what we've got to work with, and we can actually adapt the approach to take advantage and add features in that maybe weren't on the original plan, but are actually delivering a better restoration.
The result has been the creation of interesting habitats with innovative features that reform over time, such as gullies, scree slopes and drumlins, all designed to improve biodiversity and create microhabitats. Future plans for the site include a dry river valley and low cliff face exposures. As each area is restored, the habitat is handed over to the RSPB for long-term management, along with the Lodge Nature Reserve adjacent to the site.
And this is probably the most important part of the reserve, but it's all the small stuff. It's ironic because obviously with the RSPB, Royal Society for Protection of Birds, but in actual fact this site is fantastic for a whole range of small things, lichens, bryophytes, invertebrates, and much of the work that we do here is to create a range of habitats that will constantly reform, that has lots of structural diversity, that will continue to support these rare invertebrates and plants for a very long time to come.
At the opposite end of the Greensand Ridge is Ramamere Heath, a non-operational site under Tarmac's land stewardship. It forms part of a SSSI National Nature Reserve. Here, ancient woodland and heathland areas are being managed in conjunction with the Greensand Trust, which runs the next door Rushmere Country Park, and conifer plantations planted in the 1960s are being cleared to allow the heathland habitat to return. The setting of Wood Farm Quarry, surrounded by fragments of ancient woodland in the Warwickshire countryside, presented a great opportunity for operator Smiths Concrete, in partnership with Hanson, to provide a net gain for nature when extraction was completed in 2006. Situated at the heart of the Princethorpe Living Landscape Area, Wood Farm could be restored to provide important benefits to wildlife by linking existing areas of ancient woodland and adding new habitats to increase biodiversity. The restoration of the quarry itself has gone far beyond the original plan.
The original concept, because of the importance of the ancient woodlands around, was to have mainly woodland habitat linkages, but we realised that we could achieve wetland and flower-rich grassland habitats within the same site. So we've got sort of three woodland linkages across the site, but with the wetland in the middle and the flower-rich grassland.
From the early design stage, the restoration plan was developed with a landscape-scale view, taking advice from local ecologists, the Warwickshire Wildlife Trust and Natural England. Wood Farm's setting presented Smiths with some challenges too. With woodland all around the site, a track had to be cut through neighbouring Bubbenhall Wood and a tunnel built under a local road to accommodate a conveyor. Aerial ropeways were erected to enable the population of dormice to get from one side of the wood to the other, and great crested newts were moved into the new receptor ponds. The conveyor track now forms part of a network of rides through Bubbenhall Wood, which has created more open spaces. Thinning coppicing and removal of non-native conifers have dramatically increased the habitats available, and large populations of butterflies have been recorded in the wood. Having been involved with the site from the beginning, Warwickshire Wildlife Trust purchased Wood Farm, now known as Bubbenhall Meadow, in 2015, seeing it as a key area from within the local landscape.
Locally, by acquiring Bubbenhall Wood and Meadow, that actually allows us a continuous woodland area of around 220 hectares, which in fact, if you think of the scale of that, that's bigger than Regent's Park in London.
Black Hill Quarry in East Devon, a productive sand and gravel quarry for decades, closed in 2016, enabling operator Aggregate Industries to commence the final phases of a progressive 20-year restoration in partnership with the RSPB. The quarry's location means that it has a key role to play in the local landscape.
Black Hill is surrounded on three sides by the East Devon pebblebed heaths, and they're a special protected area, special area conservation and a site of special scientific interest, so really heavily designated for bird life, for flora and fauna. Lowland heathland in the UK has declined massively in the last 100 years. East Devon's one of the few remaining hotspots, and Black Hill being located where it is gives us a chance to expand on the lowland heathland in this part of the world.
Much of the heathland restoration has been achieved through thinly spreading indigenous topsoils and allowing natural regeneration. Grazing by Dartmoor and Exmoor ponies was introduced in 2013, and this has been vital to vegetation management, significantly improving the quality of the habitats. The dominance of gorse and other undesirable species has been checked with an intensive programme of scrub clearance. Swaling has also been used to regenerate an area of mature heathland, creating a more diverse mosaic. Black Hill already hosts a broad range of flora and fauna.
Then we have breeding Dartford warblers, nightjars, we've got good reptile assemblages of adder, grass snake, slowworm, common lizards. We've just recently uncovered great crested newts on the site. Very good plants. You've got your three types of heather, your bell heather, your cross-leaved and your ling. All of the typical heathland species that you would expect to find elsewhere.
We've worked here for over 20 years with the RSPB. Their local site warden and his team have been heavily involved with the restoration of the site. And I think it's an excellent example of what quarry operators working in partnership with conservation bodies can achieve.
The ultimate aim is sympathetic restoration of the quarry so that it blends seamlessly with the designated habitat around it.